gotta sit there like MacGyver handcrafting the most perfect, deboned chicken thigh. It won't last 5 minutes.
No, you'd be one bone. You pick it up. You're gonna lacerate it on one side. Pick your fingers up under it, and you pull it apart. Take the knife down on the other
Yeah.
side, and chuck the
You're
bone.
done.
Don't chuck the bone. Put that bone in a little saucepan, and while you're cooking the rest of the chicken up, boil those bones and all that. And if you can continue to boil it for about another 10 hours to let it low roll, then you can go ahead and strain all that out, and you'll have wonderful either chicken stock, or you'll have a wonderful
Bone broth.
bone broth with a lot of collagen and connective
Yeah.
tissue. So
Yeah.
You clearly don't know who I am. As soon as you said the word strain, you should have just stopped talking. You forget it. He was talking to you, Laura. He wasn't talking to me. The only thing that
I do make bone broth.
listen, the only thing I'm gonna strain is my back or my neck trying to get out of that kitchen. I'm just I might pull something. I might pull a hamstring trying to get out of that kitchen back to my life. That's about how that'll go.
Well, the one thing I like about chicken and cooking chicken was it was a great way of getting a lot of protein in back in the day when I'm trying to get 200, 250 grams of protein a day. And I got tired of eating it. I just started blending it. Just put 2 breasts in the blender with some water, and I can drink those 2 breasts in about a minute and a half instead of spending an hour trying to choke it down.
Well, I like the thought of 2 breasts, but not in a blender. That's I like my breasts in a deep fried or what's so funny?
Or oil. He likes oil on his breast.
I deep fry them in oil.
Wax on, wax off. Yeah, we know.
More off than on.
Yeah.
We know. No, I will have you know that you are both dead wrong. I happen to be more of a leg man, both with my ladies and my chicken. So there you have it. This has been a public service announcement.
This almost sounds like the other night when Gigi was talking with Dr. Chafee. Did you hear that?
No.
They did an interview for 2 hours, almost 2 hours plus, and Gigi was just going on. And next thing you know, she's talking about her grandson's privates, and they started talking. And it was all about testosterone and puberty and all this stuff. But she was asking the questions. She was like, no holds barred. And Dr. JP's like this, like, oh, it's pretty good.
Yes, I make it a point not to talk about anybody's privates on a live stream. My man Brett is in the building. What's up, everybody? Say hello to our man Hoosier Carnivore. We'll give you the appropriate. We'll give you the appropriate.
Good to be here.
You're deserving. You're deserving of that, brother. How you doing?
Oh, good. Just glad to be here in time for the breast rub.
Yeah, that's Laura. Listen, Laura was the one up there making the hand motions. I didn't. Yeah. She's our resident.
Tourette's.
Yeah, she's our resident pervert. So,
Yep.
yeah. Hey, you spend enough time by yourself in a tree stand, I guess you come up with all kind of imagination.
Yes, you do.
Anyway, what is new and wonderful in the world? Have you jumped off of something, climbed something? You ran 60 miles? What have we done lately, man? I know you're doing something incredible.
I smoked a brisket over the weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, had that on my smoker for forever, and then had to rest it, and then I got the timing all wrong, and we ended up having to eat it the next day. But
wow, what a terrible, miserable life you have.
Lessons,
Can you believe it?
Learned.
My God, that's so. When I cook something and have to eat it the next day. Oh my God, it's just.
I know. I wanted to eat it, but it wasn't ready. It didn't get to rest in time, and so I made a video on it. I'm in the process of editing it, and hopefully, somebody will want to watch it. But it wasn't it was my first brisket ever, so I'd never smoked one on my big smoker before, and it got a little overdone. Got a little kind of too much. I think it got too much smoke on it, and it kind of dried out a little bit. But I think a lot of that was from the timing, and I don't know. Well, I'm going to try it again soon. But
Yeah, you chop that up and slather it in some mayonnaise and stuff like that. It'll go down smooth, brother. Don't ask me how I know.
it did. I put some extra beef tallow on it and
There you
got it
go.
to where it was a little softer. But I think if I would have started it earlier, like if I would have got up at 2 a.m. and started the pit and then went back to bed and then let it cook, into the afternoon and then had time to rest it before dinner, it would have been fine. But yeah.
Yeah. If I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to cook something, if you ever hear that, go back to sleep. You are messed up.
Or in prison.
Yeah, just go back to sleep, man, because somebody done told you wrong. I could take it or leave it. I'm not a big. I don't dislike it, but it doesn't. What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't. I'm not going to go out of my way or like be special to.
It doesn't drive your dinner table.
Yeah, but I don't dislike it. If somebody make the smoked bread, I'm not going to be like, oh, did you say that's smoked? I don't want any of that. No, it's. But I pressure cook my briskets. I'll just season them up with real good and just smoke them. Smoke them, pressure cook them. Smoking them just takes too long for me. Yeah, there's just I can have a very tender, wonderful brisket in an hour or two from prep time to on the plate. And I've not tried some of that liquid smoke or some of that other stuff. We will ask our resident expert, how that works, the liquid smoke and all that stuff there. Is any of that stuff any good for us, my dear?
I think as long as you'd have to look at the ingredients, but I think as long as the ingredients are clean, I wouldn't worry about, and it's going to get warm enough. I mean, if somebody is like, I know people that will not eat anything smoked, anything like the smoked salts that I use from Redmond's. They're like, that's not carnivore. And I'm like, I didn't ask you.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to decide, like, if it's got sugar in it. And even at that,
Yeah.
the sugar is going to burn off. It's just like bacon. Bacon is 90% of the time cured with a sugar. That's why when you cook it and you get those little pieces that stay stuck to your pan, that's the sugar that's burned. It's not in the bacon anymore. So eat the damn bacon. It's fine. But yeah, I think the same thing's true with the smoke. If you like the smoked flavor, and I like some stuff, I like salmon smoked. That is one of the best ways of having salmon ever, is that way.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I eat every day. I probably, if I had a smoker, I haven't decided, I've never bought one, but if I had one, I'd probably use it. It wouldn't be, like I said, every day. But yeah, I think if you enjoy that, go for it. If I wake up at 2 to cook something, even start it, I'm not going back to bed because my brain's going to be thinking about that meat that's cooking and I'm going to be up for the rest of the day. So that would not work out for me.
It is a labor of love, I gotta tell
I'll
you.
go right to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more likely to be going to bed at 2 than waking up at 2. But I just didn't know if any of that stuff had, I'm not familiar with any of the products. I've not really seen a lot of it in the keto world. But I know people use it. I'm guessing it has seed oils and things in there that we don't like, but I just don't. That was an informational question. I don't know if it has a lot of sugars and stuff in it, but I would be, if it's pretty clean, I may try some of that next time I pressure cook something. But yeah, it's just like sous videing. People talk about sous videing this and sous videing that. Yeah, sous vide is a French phrase that means we're going to eat next week. That's what that is. Hey, and it's a French phrase meaning I hope y'all ain't hungry right now. Yeah. So speaking of that, Cranky, liquid smoke on my sous vide beef is better So he is using liquid smoke and sous videing. So there you have it. My man has got it all covered. All the bases are covered. So
Wow.
tell us what brand
I
of
love
liquid smoke you use. If you have one that's recommended, that's clean, put that in the chat or whatever. If folks may be interested, who knows, and want to use some of that, maybe if they want to pressure cook or something like that, maybe. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Next time I pressure cook a brisket, using some liquid smoke or something like that. I like different flavors, I really do. So I'm down for anything that's not going to raise my blood sugar or insulin. If it's non-spicy, because I don't like spicy, but I'm all about that. And I think I'm going to do a video coming up soon about the different sauces that I use and the different seasonings that I use and the different things like that. I think I'm going to do that. That may be my next cooking video. I think I saw. Yeah. Yes. Listen, I know. Listen, I have close ties in the reptile community, and I know you've smoked a few iguanas with your crossbow. You just so that is not true. Yes, that is not true. I don't think you're telling the truth there. Hey, Arlene, and it's good to see you. She's coming in near the end of our broadcast here, but it's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Doc, I did my first whole brisket 10 days ago in the oven inside an oven bag. Now I don't know if you can do it now. You meet experts. I will pass this off to the man who lives in a meat locker. A whole brisket is like, isn't that thing like 20, like the size of an alligator or something?
Well, it depends. When I bought my brisket at Costco, they varied anywhere from 13 to 20 pounds. And I got one of the small ones to try. After I trimmed it down, it was about 11, I think. So, but it took, on my smoker, it took every bit of 10 or 11 hours to get to 203.
But he said in his oven, he did one. And I've seen people do that, just
just going low and slow in the oven.
Yeah, in the oven. But the oven is relatively small. But I don't know what I don't know enough to know what a whole brisket is or what a part of a brisket is. I know you've got the peak and the flat and I don't know, the transmission and the carburetor.
the distributor cap and the torque converter. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about it. Yeah, I've heard people talk about it because I made a brisket one time. It was only like 6 pounds or something. And Carnivore Kip instructed me, said, "No, my friend, you did not get a brisket if it was 6 pounds." But now he's got a smoker the size of a semi truck. So,
Yes.
I mean, you could smoke.
He can smoke. I tell you, he did some smoked chicken, make you believe back in chicken, but they were leg quarters.
Yeah, I told him one time if he smoked a pair of flip flops, I'd probably want to eat them. I'd have to know whether they were new or used, though. I do. There's a line. I had to, I didn't cross the line. If they were new, I would probably try. I'd probably try them. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't. I was hoping to get to meet Scott, but we ended up having that flooded basement issue we talked about last time, and
you mean Kip?
We come home early and didn't get to go to the big Carnivore Kip Cookout.
Yeah,
I was pretty disappointed. I wanted to meet him. I wanted to meet Scott and the Browns and all the other people that came, and maybe next year.
Hey,
yeah,
we're good.
It will not be the last. I am absolutely sure of that. So it was 16 pounds, trimmed it to 13 pounds to fit in the baking pan.
There you
Now,
go.
speaking of trim things, okay, go ahead and start laughing at me, Laura. Go ahead right now. just hey, listen, I throw myself upon the mercy of the court. Okay, now you made a leg of lamb that just like I did not too long ago. My leg of lamb was fantastic. And it turned out really good, especially for me. Was it a boneless leg, like in a net? Okay, so we probably had because you don't have Costco's where you're at. You got it from a different store.
No.
Gotcha.
No.
All right. So when I cut the net off and I open it up, and the next then and I made it, and it like I said, I chopped it off, and the big round part I roasted, and then the other part I sliced up into smaller kind of steak size pieces and grilled them on my indoor grill. Great. And I'm gonna try it with the new rub that I got next time I make one. Great. But there are parts of it that are just not edible. Little parts of it. There's some silver skin.
Yeah.
There's some fat that's just, little
Yeah.
bits and pieces around. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this next time to strategically trim those parts. See, she's laughing at me. She's laughing at me. I couldn't even get it out, Brett. I couldn't even get it out. She's already laughing here. So I'm gonna
It's not
try.
hard.
Okay, now I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you when the next time you are making one, and if that
Yeah.
is of any, like, was that something you would even do, or you say, "Heck with, I'm gonna just cook the thing. I don't care."
Yeah, no, I could do a video of that. Uh, I tried like with my deer, I clean off all of that, as I'm deboning it and bringing it in the house. And somebody was I think it was the Bearded Butchers I was watching, and I was like, "Oh, they let their videos be out there." So I did that with my deer, and YouTube was like, "Nick." I mean, it was like it didn't even get I couldn't even get it to go up onto the site. And then I got like a little notification by email, and I was like, I've seen other things. So I guess it was because the deer still had the head attached. I don't know what their problem was with it, but they could see eyeballs, I guess, and that was their issue. But I always take all that, stuff off of the deer. So I could do that the next time. And I actually have another one of those lamb roasts in my freezer right now that I may do this next week. So I could always do that and kind of go through how I clean that up. And it doesn't take very long. You just want a very nice sharp knife.
Yeah, I didn't think it would take that long or do that much. That's why I
Yeah.
considered the idea of it. Trust me, if I thought it was gonna be any kind of long 'cause there's only, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 parts of it that, like,
Yeah.
are just, and it's not that huge a deal. Um,
Yeah.
it's not like something that's not gonna stop me from making it or whatever, but I was just like,
Yeah.
if I could just spend a few minutes before I start doing it, just
Yeah.
cutting those
Sure.
pieces out and getting rid of them, then, you know, the dining experience may be just slightly more pleasurable. So,
Yes.
Just make sure you watch out for your digits.
Yes.
oh yeah, no, yeah, I won't have any problems of that nature.
Well,
Uh,
Good.
the only thing I'd say is I tend not to cut the fat, especially when you're making something in the oven, because that's where your flavor and the moisture of your meat's going to come from. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
turn it back too much.
I don't know about that with lamb. I think you're right on certain cuts of beef, like coarser cuts of beef and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, the lamb is so tender and juicy. But the problem is,
It
Yeah.
is.
when you get that, it's like you cut. I mean, it's great. You're chewing, and all of a sudden you get that piece in there, and you're like,
Mhm.
and you just, I mean,
It's like it's got 2 different styles of fat. It's like it's got
yeah,
more of your
right,
yeah, the softer fat, and then you'll find a section down inside there that it's not even gristle. It is just I mean, it's so
yeah,
fibrous, and I have teeth.
Yeah.
I can chew through a tin can, and I was like, "Jesus, this is harder than hell to get through," and I was like, "I ain't
yeah,
doing that again. I'm gonna cut that
yeah.
off." So,
Yeah, I don't even try. Like if I'm cutting into it and I get my knife gets to that part, I don't even. I just cut it out and throw it away. So it's like I'm cutting it out and throwing it away after I'm eating it. So I'm like, why can't I do this before I cook it? You know what I mean? Instead of after I do it. But again, it's just like anything else with me. I'm gonna get into it, and if it's too much, I'm like, hey, I've been eating it like this
yeah,
forever. So what's the difference? But
it'll be
I'm gonna
fine.
try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that next time, and I'm gonna make cut up smaller pieces. I think a little differently, and just because the part that I grilled was fantastic, man. It was
Mhm.
so good. So, I want to do a little bit more of that. I even thought about trying to, but again, it's to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe. Okay, I thought about just doctoring up the whole thing into small, like steak-sized pieces and grilling it all because it
Yeah.
was so good. Um,
Yeah.
so, this is my quest to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. So,
Von
I don't know.
Trapp one.
Yeah, I don't know if
That's
I'll
right.
ever do it. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but in my mind, I can do it.
So Kim was asking what knives I
Yeah.
recommend. I'm not a knife connoisseur when it comes to like cutting meat. I love Kershaw, Gerber, and buck knives. That's what I
Hunting
use, and that
knives.
is what I use.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I use for everything. So I'm not somebody like you see Sean Baker, and I was like, Jesus, what kind of a knife is that he uses? I have no idea about those types of
You don't have a
knives.
10-inch breaking knife?
I do have one, but
Ah,
I don't use it. I'm just so used to using the others that's what I use. And I'll find myself out there like trimming, the deer meat down and taking, some of the fat off of it. And most people would be using a different style knife. And I'm like, I'm just out there whittling away because it's what I'm used to doing.
Yeah.
So,
you're cutting
So you,
flesh. You're all right.
The
so you
bearded
carry
butcher
around
guys.
like a lock blade
mm,
buck knife with you. You just can whip that thing out and
I have it on my side whenever I'm in the timber. I don't wear it to work. Yes,
oh,
nice.
The bearded butcher guys use Victorinox knives.
Yeah.
And they're really good
Yeah.
and they're not expensive. Yeah, the Victoria, Dr. Nelson just posted the Victorinox 6-inch boning knife and 10-inch breaking knife.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, they're excellent.
yeah. I didn't know that. I've never heard of such a thing. I know what a butter knife is. I know what a steak knife is. And I know what a buck knife is because my brother gave me one when he was here last time. An old one. He got a new one. He gave me his old one. And I had a couple when I was a little kid. I remember they were like the high quality locking blade. Everybody like, oh, you wanted a buck knife. And I didn't even know they still were in business. It's funny until he was like, hey, I got this whole buck knife if you want it. So I have an old set of ceramic knives that I got years ago, and I don't know how many there were, but there's 2 left. So that is what I have, and I make the most of it. But I have been thinking about getting some new knives because the one main knife that I use, yeah, it's not terribly sharp anymore. Like I said, I've had it for years. How long does a good knife last? Like how long? Is
It
something you buy?
depends how you sharpen it.
Yeah.
Like there's whetstone, there's different ways of sharpening the knife. So I'd say if you're using one of those ones that you can buy at the store, like the little hand ones that you kind of dry, I don't think that's going to put a very good edge on your knife. And I
Yeah.
wasn't trained to, growing up hunting, that's never what I did.
You know,
Yeah.
what I understand about knives, you the owner have to make a decision. Do you want to sharpen frequently or sharpen infrequently? So
Yep.
you can get a really good high carbon steel knife, and a really good one that's really hard, and you won't have to sharpen it often. But when you do need it sharpened, you're going to have to send it out to a professional, right? Or you can get one if you want to do the time to hone it and do things. Normally, just honing a knife, once you have a good edge, if you just hone the knife and get rid of the bead, it will do quite well for you. So you get a softer steel a blade. But you got to make the choice. Are you going to sharpen or not? If you're not going to one, get a more expensive, higher carbon one, maybe one with a couple of funny metals in it, and it should last you 20 years, 30 years. If after you use it, you wipe it down, you clean and you dry it and put it away without banging every other thing. And it should only be against wood things. It should not be against all the other knives and spoons. If you take some basic care, maybe hang it up on a magnet over your cooking area, 20, 30 years wouldn't be unexpected from a good quality knife. My opinion. That's all I know.
I
Says
agree.
9.5 fingers.
Hey, Susan. Susan's popping in at the
Susan.
end here. I think we had a question for our resident expert on canning, prepping, storm preparation, the apocalypse, and all things bunkerific.
That's right. I don't have anything planned other than I am going to be making my own like antibiotic salve and stuff that I'll be putting up on my site with tallow and stuff. Um, I did one this last weekend that was on like ways of using plants as medicine and stuff like that. So I haven't done one. I have so much stuff prepped. Like I think I did the scrambled eggs and beef last week, and I cold packed that, pressure can that. Um, but I don't have anything in plans right now. But who knows? I'll have a dream 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be like, "Yeah, that sounds good. I'll try that." So, but I have so much stuff already prepped, and we'll see.
I have a dream that one day pickled canned sardines and tuna will live together. I have a dream today. Okay, and we will wrap up the show with this last comment from the Quackmaster himself. I get my knowledge from the dump or clean outs. That stands to reason because that's also where he gets his food. Okay, thank you, my friends and family. Once again, I thank you guys for showing up, hanging out with us. We hope you got a few laughs. Hope you got a chuckle and a smile. Maybe you even learned something tonight, not from me, but from one of these fine people. Next week, you won't learn anything on the show. We got Charger Mopar coming up next week. He will be here to tell you that I'm not kidding, that he does get his food and knives from Dubs and Cleanouts. You think I'm kidding? You think that's a joke? That ain't a joke, family. That is what it is. And he will be here to defend himself and to continue the ridiculousness that we do every Tuesday night here on the Keto Cookout. So to my friends, Brett, who's your carnivore, Scott, the common sense carnivore, my wonderful, knowledgeable, encyclopedia, Wikipedia sister, Laura Russell. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this stream today. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. in the Keto Cookout. Until then, we grilling, baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
You be chilling.